he apologized and lied in court. But later on, he deleted that apology, took it all back, and then bragged about lying in court. Then I guess he went to Israel, continued the same style of content, was detained by the police and beat up by civilians multiple times before fleeing the country with an emergency passport, as his main American passport was allegedly taken away from him. This is an important detail now, as since he's gone to Korea and continued the same antics, but way worse. And that led him to being travel banned, but that hasn't stopped him from continuing to taunt the public and flex that he has this emergency passport, even though he can't go anywhere. As the Korean government, they've taken away his main passport and he's been banned from leaving the country. Which leaves us with another very popular question. Why is he not arrested? Well, he's been booked and released until trial and travel banned until the verdict. Now, apparently the reasons they're doing it this way is because they don't want to house him. Like, they've removed his passport, so he isn't really a flight risk. Essentially, they want to put the burden on him to provide for himself, because now he's forced to pay for himself to stay there until the trial is finished, alongside of paying to defend himself. This will likely cost him way more than he earned during his entire trip to Korea to begin with. Then on top of that, more platforms have now banned him. So he doesn't really have that many options left. As of now, he has like Rumble, TikTok, and Instagram. And all of this is happening after he previously took a 4-month break. And as he even admits, he can't afford to not stream.
I'm trying to do more daytime streams. I'm trying to be more consistent, guys. I want to stream at least 5-6 days a week. Like, I cannot take no breaks. After taking a 4-month break, I do not have no time to take any breaks. I hope this trip ends up good. It's been a success so far.
So being banned on both Kick, Twitch, and YouTube is a massive financial hit for him. But he has nobody to blame but himself. The clip that we just saw, though, is from his 5th day streaming in Korea. And a lot of his new problems come from this day. After he was indicted, people started to go through his past streams in Korea to help the prosecutors build the strongest case possible. And Johnny tried to scrub all the evidence of this, but, you know, since he live streams everything, there's people who just record and repost all of his antics. So the first incident that we're going to look at is him in the subway, as you know from the intro. First, he couldn't figure out how to buy a ticket, so he then films and pressures a kid to do it for him.
Okay, I'm putting the money in. I cannot figure this out for the life of me, bro. Hey, look, can you not do this? Can you put this in there for me? Look.
Come on, dude.
Put it on the side. Put it in there. Yes. Get to work.
Dude.
If you know how to translate this, can you help me? Put it inside. My 5,001, put it in my card. Yes. Put it inside. I don't read Korean.
Why is that his problem? Like, why are you putting this onto a kid?
I don't want to traumatize this little. I'll do it myself.
Like, what are you doing? That kid did not consent to being bullied into helping you for your own content. Nobody wants to see their kid being talked to like that, especially when the kid is just trying to help. But after fumbling with the machine for about 5 minutes, he makes his way to the subway, where he starts to, you know, do his usual, harass people for content. And here you have these back-to-back text-to-speech donations with some of the most disrespectful stuff you can imagine. Bomb threats, praising North Korea, loud moaning sounds, and all of this on public transportation when clearly there's kids around. So how does he respond to essentially allowing himself to be this like harassment proxy for his toxic audience? Well, he dances around and has fun with it. He's shocked that nobody's giving him any pushback, and then he thanks his audience for supporting him with these disrespectful text-to-speech donations.
How many? You can't see it in my eyes, but how many? Some of this. I don't think they're pressing me because I look like them. You know? Not even one person is pressing me, guys. Maybe because I look like them, I'm blending in. Thank you guys for all the support, guys. I love you guys.
Now, obviously, you can give him the benefit of the doubt and say, he doesn't understand Korean or what they're donating. But it's clear he endorses this, and he'll happily be paid to use as a medium for random people on the internet to harass strangers. Because let's be real, if there was actually any fear of what was being said on his text-to-speech, if he didn't understand it, he would just turn off the speaker.
I don't know what's going on, guys. He's preaching. He's a cult. Oh my, this is terrorism. This is now terrorism. Now this is terrorism, guys.
So there he's claiming he's committing terrorism. So that's interesting and can also likely be used against him in court. And then to add to that, you have this whole clip which happened where he walked around blasting, I have a bomb on his speaker.
나에겐 폭탄이 있다. 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 나에겐
I know, sir. Sorry.
나에겐 폭탄이 있다.
I'm sorry.
나에겐 폭탄이 있다.
Oh, what is it even saying? Oh, I don't know. What?
나에겐 폭탄이 있다.
Guys, there's kids right here,
나에겐
bro.
폭탄이 있다.
Sorry, brother. Oh, no, open up, guys. No. Oh my God. Everyone's looking at me.
Dude. But the cops didn't show up, so he starts blaming some random people for snitching.
You called them? You? I think there's that guy that snitched.
But after being kicked off of the subway by the police, he then claims he's uncancelable.
Somalis can never get canceled. Never, bro. And honestly, the only way I could be canceled is if I cancel myself. The one thing I got to think about, if I want to piss off Moist Critical, if I want to piss off H-Toes, if I want to piss off Decoy Boys, and all these that made hundreds of thousands about talking on YouTube, the only thing I need to do is keep streaming. That's all I need to keep streaming. Like, just keep streaming and get rich and get super rich, and just, that's going to piss everybody off. That's how you win over these normies and SJWs like fucking Haas and Abi.
This aged so poorly because he's now been banned on all major streaming platforms since he said this. Then on top of this, he's clearly not worried about the online backlash because something he should be worried about are the laws of the countries he streams in. Because let's face it, the most likely thing to cancel his streaming career are his own actions that'll likely land him behind bars. And also, speaking of his political comment here, I feel like Johnny has united everyone in the world from all backgrounds and political beliefs to agree on one thing. We all despise the kind of content he makes, and I think it's a massive net negative to society because I feel like everyone wants to be able to live in a society without the risk of being harassed in public for someone's live stream content. So the more you point and laugh at these fools who do this for internet attention, the better. But alongside of the pointing and laughing and legal ramifications he's facing, he's also now facing threats from people that are being aired on a national Korean TV station.
Don't come back to America, Mr. Somali.
Hey, Somali, just know, wherever you go, if there are Korean people,
Okay, so he's getting threats from Americans now?
we're not to be with. You us to LA, we go on the roofs and literally snipe you motherfuckers.
YouTube personality Johnny Somali, who's been making headlines ever since making a nuisance of himself in South Korea, seems to have a new target on his back. Not by angry Koreans, but by Korean Americans who even claim to have gang affiliations. For those out of the loop, the streamer was recently indicted by South Korean authorities for his offensive commotions.
That is such a bad clip.
In a video that's now circulating online, a Korean-American man sent out a threatening message to Somali, warning him to refrain from returning to the United States.
You just pissed off a lot of the wrong people. Don't come back to America, Mr. Somali, as the price that you need to pay for playing stupid games.
Earlier last week, Somali talked with American streamer Caldo during a live stream where he shared his plan to return home.
I think my next destination you ask is America, bro, because I'm tired of dealing with these foreign governments and these foreign laws.
Yeah, man.
If I stream in America, I don't have to do this. But keep it strong, bro. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to quit. I don't think I'll go to jail. I think if I don't go to jail, it's going to be a big win, and then I can laugh on all these creators on Rumble.
Notice how I said Rumble as he doesn't have any of the main platforms left. But yeah, that would be interesting to see him stream like he's doing now in the US. So that'll be interesting to see how long that lasts. And that is if he gets out of Korean jail in a short enough time where he can get to the US and still have a relevant streaming career.
It's not known yet how the Korean authorities will deal with Somali's case. And while he seems confident he'll avoid doing any jail time, he should be less sure about being welcomed back in America, as many Americans, both of Korean descent and regular people, have expressed their embarrassment as well as anger towards the YouTuber who's been making American look pretty bad in places like Israel, Japan, and Thailand.
Yeah, I feel like the general consensus here in the US is like, hey, Korea, just keep him over there. Take one for the team. Just have him over there, please.
Comments on YouTube videos about Somali's antics in Korea from fellow Americans state they don't wish to see him back. One commented, American here.
Yeah, no, exactly. That is straight up
Him in custody.
the general consensus here.
While another wrote, U.S. Marine here. America doesn't want his ass back.
And on top of that, Legal Mindset, who we had here on the channel last week, he broke that a bunch more charges have been filed against Johnny.
I contacted some folks, and apparently some Korean YouTubers have pressed additional charges. So these have already been filed against him. Apparently blackmail, which is up to 10 years in prison. The ones in the green have already been filed. So, and these are not ones by Bong or someone else. These are by Korean YouTubers. So it said they're not dropping them. They're not dropping them. So you've got blackmail, insults, you've got deepfakes, and not Bong's deepfakes, other people's deepfakes. Those have all been filed. So the green are all new charges that have been filed. And then beyond that, the yellow is stuff that's going to be filed this week. Sexual threats to children up to 3 years, because he was playing sexual stuff around children, including, by the way, literally, this is disgusting. He was playing threats to sexually assault children live on his text-to-speech, right? So that's going to go down. Business obstruction, right? Another charge, right? Supporting the DPRK, which is, once again, I showed you the video before. And as well, he's done this in multiple instances. That's up to 7 years. And public indecency with another year.
So if all those get filed, I mean, he's potentially facing an additional 31 years in Korean prison. Now, honestly, they're not going to throw the maximum sentence at him. Legal Mindset does go on to say that he thinks that, like, realistically, we're looking at anything from 1 to 10 years for Johnny for this. But the next question I have is, will all this get thrown into the same case? Or will this be separate, which then continues to prolong his stay in Korea? Because let's say he just somehow manages to get out of this first case, but then he has all of these extra charges to worry about. But Johnny apparently isn't even that worried, because he's now posting on Instagram saying, I'm gonna laugh like a maniac when I beat this case like OJ. Okay, bud. So I guess only time will tell to see if that happens. But as many of you guys know, I started a mat company called Mat City to bring the nostalgic toy car mats to a city near you, alongside of mouse mats. So we've now dropped way more cities and collections, and we're now doing a 20% off site-wide sale from Mat City for an extended Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale. So now,
bro, you could jiggle some keys in front of these guys and they would be entertained for a week.
It's like the biggest, most simple way to put men and women on such a different value. You're valuing them wildly different,
and it's still equality.
In reality, of course, women who are part of society, who are equal citizens, who are equal people, should be having a say in their democracy.
Democracy is cringe.
It's mob rule. The majority of people in this country.
This is exactly the type of sentiment that make me completely understand why the monarchy existed for as long as it did. If you have been living under at least theoretical democracy and have been taught that this is a good value to hold in 2024, so like for at least a couple hundred years, if not at least for 100 years, okay? And even in that process in the United States of America, obviously, like, we didn't really let a lot of other people vote, but like, you know, it's been around for a while at this point. And like the theory of it all is good, right? In theory, it's good. It's something that we are aspiring towards. And there are still motherfuckers who are like, it's mob rule. Okay, I get it. No, I get it. I understand how people were just like, no, you don't understand. My Lord knows what's best for me. My Lord. Oi, Magna Carta has pretty cringe, governor. Me lordship knows what's best for the grain. He knows how to best use it. My peasant brain cannot comprehend. Me lord, I will toil the land for you. Me lordship, the peasants speak of an uprising. I'm here to tell you, I am self-assured in your divine right to rule. Oh, I haven't done the Milord character in a minute, dude. Shouts out to these dildos for bringing it back in a big way.
The majority of people in this country used to think slavery.
Trump got the popular vote. It's true. Trump.
The majority of the people in this country used to think slavery was good. Yeah, there was a Democratic There was a democratic establishment over the preservation of slavery. That's awesome. No, they didn't. And you know who also didn't think it was good? The slaves, who every time we have this conversation, we always talk about. This is one of the things that has always been so cringy for me in particular, reading about American history and like trying to understand how Americans look at their own personal history. It's always been very frustrating. Something that is taught in American schools always is like, well, there was spirited debate about whether slavery should happen or not amongst the founders. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess that's fine then. Are we in 2024 still operating on the basis that like back then the human beings that were enslaved were not real human beings? Like what the I guess they had a spirited debate. What difference does that make? I'm sure the people that were enslaved were not fond of it. It's no longer 1776. So you know better. You know that they were human beings that were being enslaved. So why are we just like not thinking about their perspective on the matter? Very frustrating. Also, the founders that spirited debates over this matter is also silly because even in Pennsylvania, there were restrictions on slavery. There were abolition rules in places where, for example, George Washington lived. And in order to avoid those rules, George Washington fully knew that it was immoral and f***ed up. He would traffic his own slaves outside of the state 6 months at a time to avoid the 6-month period where after 6 months you were forced to free the people that you were enslaving. So he would just cycle them out of the state. So there was already established laws around this sort of thing. So clearly enough people knew it was bad, including, but not limited to, George Washington.
But at the end of the day, like if there were a room full of people that thought like me and Isabella, you would hate democracy too, wouldn't you?
There have been majorities, and we work through our democracy.
Yes or no?
To convince people. No, I want to hate democracy.
Really?
That's how things were before, and then we use our democracy to make the country better.
What's better?
A bunch of districts are better off now than probably when y'all loved it. 1800 on a when y'all like it. 1950s.
Bro, pre-civil rights. Lasered in on it, dude. Hey, there's a perfect part. We're still running on that war economy. You got the GI Bill, you know, white picket fence and all, no black people. Pretty solid time for America. Also, I don't know if he knows this, but women could vote in the 1950s, but I guess he doesn't know much at all. So ask him what he thinks about the top marginal tax rate and cook his brain. Be like, oh, what do you think of the top marginal tax rate in the 1950s? He's gonna be like, oh, I don't know. He's like, oh, it's 90%. You think that was solid? I do. Let's bring it back.
Seriously.
Including like the oppression of black people and stuff?
Oh, segregation's not oppression.
Oh, wow.
Yo, bring back shame. Don't even open the schools. I take it back. Shame is an important tool here, I think. Wow. Yo, it's like that one fucking chick that was debating Dean on the Nelk Boys podcast who just straight up said it. Like, what is happening? My man says segregation is not bad. What the
The reason why I wore the Malcolm X t-shirt is because Malcolm X wanted black communities.
I know.
Black government, black politics.
Whose stance?
That's what he wanted.
And I agree with more, not Malcolm X's.
MLK?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Okay, no. What is that guy saying? Why is the liberal saying shitting on Malcolm X? The liberal is taking the false framing of Malcolm X's legacy and ideology from the MAGA hat wearing guy who just said segregation isn't that bad. Why would you ever? Liberalism is such a brain rotted, stupid concept that he literally just heard a man who is so stupid that he is anti-democracy and said segregation isn't bad, but now you're taking for granted what he just said about Malcolm X. Why the would you ever listen to that illiterate dipshit and find yourself in agreement with an illiterate dipshit that you have brought onto your show to make fun of him? Malcolm X rebuked his early segregationist views. Anyone with even a passing knowledge of his legacy would know that. Liberals are so useless. He's operating on the classic, like, you know, Malcolm X was violent and scary, and MLK was peaceful and a liberal. The American government packed up both of them, by the way. Didn't really matter. And also, both's legacy are tarnished regardless. They're lied about endlessly. MLK was not a f***ing liberal, is methods certainly were more peaceful, even though currently, today, when people apply those same peaceful methods, people do not have such a peaceful reaction to that. Just to think about all of the boycotts or divestment initiatives that have occurred in the past year or so. And look, it was a whole lot closer to Malcolm X than any of these goobers in this podcast. And also, back then, they didn't have such a peaceful reaction to Malcolm X's peaceful disobedience, peaceful means of civil disobedience either, by the way. Okay.
But that's like very anti-democracy of you. If black people came together and they had decided that they wanted black communities, they had just decided that that's what they wanted.
They didn't, though.
No, whites got together.
And who were they unifying with? There you go. Yeah, exactly. Americans. And if you have black people who choose to associate with one another, and for example, their whole friend group is black, that's very different than, as
I
you
agree.
mentioned,
I agree.
lawful segregation.
I think lawful segregation.
Or even advocating segregation.
They do choose to segregate.
Right.
This is something that they choose to do.
As time has gone on, people have been less and less.
There's like segregated months, gay pride month,
This is the
American
thing.
month.
Yeah, dude, you're right. Gay Pride Month. That's a segregated month. No straights allowed during Gay Pride Month. Everybody knows that. She said African American Month. Yeah, that's funny. That's funny when they're being woke while also being racist. I love when racists try to be woke. It's my favorite thing. I can't keep watching the video. Okay, let's continue.
We've been pushed down, so we're gonna do a month to say that we are proud of who we are. No longer are we gonna be shameful.
It's so
Shameful.
gay.
It is literally gay.
Literally.
Pride Month.
But every month that is like that is also gay. Like not even just gay pride month, like also African American. Just like I'm just like cringe, like, you know.
Gay equals cringe.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're having sex and you can't reproduce, like the best part about having sex is reproduction. Seriously. Like, I don't value sex because of an orgasm. I value sex because I know that I am going to reproduce and have another baby.
They're a couple, right? So busted. I was gonna make a joke about there ain't no way he's getting pussy, but like I think they're a couple. So I guess he did truly find someone stupid enough. The thing about Republicans is like, it's not about whatever standards they have for themselves. It has to be everybody else's problem. It's just like, yeah, if you want to have the worst sex imaginable and nut immediately and only do it for reproduction, I mean, I feel bad for you, but, you know, go on. Why the f*** is that anybody else's issue? Like what? Why are you setting the standards? And the same goes for gay shit, you know? Like, it's not like gay people are running around being like, you have to be gay, you have to suck a dick right now. And before everybody in the chat starts saying, no, I do say that, okay, as a joke. That's not how this works. But conservatives, one, make it seem like it is, act like it is, and then take action to stop people from being gay in general.
And that's the
Kidding.
pain. I mean, like, seriously though, like, the best part of it's why as soon as we got together, like, she's off birth control. As soon as we're together, it's like no birth control, nothing.
Wait, what? So y'all are before marriage? What? Hello?
I'm not gonna have gay sex. And like, gay sex is more than just like another man and a man. It's just like the idea of looking at sex as such a materialistic thing and just like.
Did he just say what I think? He said having sex without contraceptives is having sex with contraceptives is gay sex. He said if you have, fellas, if you nut without the intention of impregnating a woman, you are gay. I guess Pride Month is for everybody in that, by that metric. Everybody's gay as hell.
Oh, well, like, we just have an orgasm and that's fun or whatever. No, like, dude, sex is about having children. It's about having babies. Like, you pump yourself full of birth control and then you have sex with your wife and like, there's no purpose there except just pleasure. That's the only purpose.
No gay sex with women, guys.
Very true. I agree.
We're going to have a new segment on the stream, which might never happen again, but I'm calling it a new segment. It's going to be called Slop Watch, where whenever a slop YouTuber steps out of their lane and talks about something serious, we fact check them. So we're going to fact check a slop YouTuber who usually talks about like Minecraft streamer drama, but decided to delve in to Israel-Palestine recently out of no reason aside from the fact that they hate Hassan. This is basically it. Like, these people used to make drama videos about gaming YouTubers, but then Hassan came onto the platform. You know, he's on the same platform as the gamers. So now, like, they hate him for getting more viewers than them while talking about things that actually matter. So now, like, in between the videos about like the latest like scandal of like I don't know, Pokimane having an affair with Asmongold's dog or some shit like that. You know, the gamer World of Warcraft, League of Legends, whatever the fuck. I'm just throwing out words that I don't know what they mean. You now have this guy who has the brain power of like an almond telling us what to think about geopolitics, what to think about genocide. So we're going to check out what Willie Mack Show has to tell us. Just to check out the direction of his content. The direction of his content is put someone with lots of followers in the title. There is not a single video on his channel that is not about another YouTuber. And by far the videos that get the most views are the ones about Hassan, so that's why he's making them. So let's check it out. Let's see what he's got to say and let's fact check him for as long as we reasonably can until it becomes so grating that we would prefer not to live anymore. Let's check it out.
Last year, I started documenting Hassan for his blatantly false reporting.
Why do you talk like that? Why do you talk like that? What is this voice, for one? This is not a real person's voice. I thought my video voice was bad. What's this?
I was right about Ukraine. That's right. War is not imminent. Oh, shock. An Israeli airstrike hit the Al Ahli hospital. You were so right. They had a 7th.
Like, he just puts that in. This is not something that these people like to do. Like, they don't actually have to provide proof or evidence for their claims. They just like point at someone else saying something and insist that it's wrong without being able to explain why. People who consider themselves political commentators do that. So obviously a slop YouTuber is going to do it way more.
1,000 new troops. So what's going to end up happening is that by April, this is going to be done. IDF didn't bomb the hospital. Change title. IDF didn't bomb the hospital. Yes, it did.
Does this guy provide any evidence that it didn't bomb the hospital? No, he doesn't. He just insists that it didn't. And because Hassan said that it did, it must be wrong.
Yes, it did.
I criticized him for being a propagandist, coming to conclusions on breaking news when the story hadn't even been fully reported on.
You right now is the same thing.
You are somehow coming to incorrect conclusions about something literally a year later. So you don't even have that excuse.
You always do. I'm just saying.
No,
like, you're doing this in real time. You're doing it in real time, bro.
Over the course of an 8-hour broadcast, if you look to literally 3 moments,
how come nobody else shut up as much as you, dude? That does 8-hour broadcasts.
Because no one has the most psychopathic fandom like idiots like you who sit through every minutia.
Isn't it great? Like, you're just supposed to like look at this and assume that he's right or something. He doesn't actually need to make any arguments. Doesn't need to provide any proof of his claims. You just look at this and it's like, well, does he actually do that at some point? Let's find out. It's like, look at all these things that he just, I'm insisting is sort of self-evidently bad. Because I don't actually know why they're bad. I just sort of have a gut feeling that they're bad. So let me show them to you. Like you saw in the previous segment where I responded to like a clip of Ethan, like an Ethan Klein Zionist compilation, rather than just showing you the clip and insisting, oh, this is wrong. I told you why it's wrong. This guy shows you a clip and you're just supposed to listen to it, and I guess it's wrong just because he's pointing at it, I guess.
To find a clippable moment. To find a clippable moment to be like, he sucks, he's bad. That's the reason, dickhead. All right.
Followed this up by interviewing a terrorist, eating up propaganda about taking hostages.
Terrorists, right? You can just brand someone as a terrorist if you're this fucking white guy who sounds like he's struggling to speak. You're this guy here. You can just say that someone is a terrorist, providing zero evidence for it. Why is he a terrorist? He's an Arab in Yemen. Why else would he be a terrorist, right? Someone who, by the way, like, what terrorist attack has he committed? What terrorist attack has he committed? I can point to a terrorist attack that Gila Klein has participated in. What terrorist attack did this guy participate in? Could you point to that for us? Which one? What did he do? I'd like to offer, I believe his name is Rashid Al-Khalidi. We will crowdfund a GoFundMe so you can sue whichever one of these people you choose. This guy could be the easy target. There's precedent for this working because, for example, Sacha Baron Cohen's video Bruno, he framed a random Palestinian grocer as like a terrorist, and he ended up having to pay that guy hundreds of millions of dollars in a defamation case, or at least tens of millions. Rashid, my friend from Yemen, you have a chance at a huge payout here, and we will gladly crowdfund you. Pick like the most egregious of them, calling you a terrorist, and let's get them in court trying to justify that label. I'd love to see that. That would be fantastic.
propaganda about taking hostages.
He's saying he hasn't spent much time with Chinese people, but one of the captain was Chinese, and he did talk with them, and he danced to music with them, and he was vibing. So he.
This is funny, by the way, because not one of the captains in any of the ships that the Houthis seized in their anti-genocide blockade, by the way, literally a blockade against Western shipping that to put pressure on Western countries and Israel to stop doing genocide. That's what that is. Nonetheless, there was literally no Chinese captain, obviously. How did he talk to a Chinese captain when there is no Chinese captain? What he did is he saw an unrelated video, a TikTok from before this was even happening, of like a ship captain who had docked in Yemen, like doing drugs with Yemenis. A Bulgarian at that, not even a fucking Chinese, because there's no Chinese captains in Yemen. No, there's no Chinese captains involved in this at all. So he's talking about a TikTok video that he watched, and these guys say like, okay, that's like this positive evidence that he's a terrorist. Also, even if he had talked to a captain, how would that make him a terrorist? Is terrorism when you speak to someone who was like a crew member of a ship that was seized in an anti-genocide blockade? Just speaking to them makes you a terrorist? Is that how this works? I would love to get this guy on stream to explain to us his logic and also to get him to present to us his evidence.
He likes it there.
I mean, what? That's so crazy.
He's saying that they went over the crews on these.
Is the entire video just like him rehashing a video that he already made, where you're supposed to look at the clips and just assume that he's correct? That whatever he's implying about this is right, even though he provides zero evidence for you to believe that? Like, the reason why this guy is being called a terrorist by this guy is because he's Arab. That's literally his criteria to be a terrorist is to be Arab. He could not explain to you what terrorist attack he's engaged in. He couldn't even explain to you what terrorism that he's just supposedly engaged in. He could just point to like the anti-genocide blockade, and then if he had to deal with a counter-argument on that, he would flop in 2 minutes because he doesn't fucking know what he's talking about. Honestly, these people are embarrassing. Like, who watches this and is just like, yep, you know, he's clearly owning this guy here by just showing a video without being able to refute a thing.
And they like win them over with their charm, and they make them hate America and the U.S. government.
That's so funny. Okay, that doesn't probably take much.
Yeah, hilarious. The crew is still held captive. If the sun continues to...
Which crew? Where's the Chinese captain here? Where's the Chinese captain? Continues... Can you point to the Chinese captain for us? Because there is no Chinese captain. Like, we are supposed to believe that stopping ships that are trying to run a blockade to put pressure on countries supporting a genocide, no less, that is terrorism. That is bad. He doesn't need to explain to us why it's bad. He can just point at it because he and his audience are of the same intelligence level, so it works on them.
And Hassan continues to glorify terrorism by playing their propaganda and passing it off.
These are terrorists and this is their propaganda. These are terrorists and this is that. He doesn't even need to prove his initial claims. He just needs to point. Point. It's true because I said so. Don't expect me to actually make any arguments.
His happy musicals.
Speaking of music video, they love walking over like the American flag and the Israeli flag side by side. They will always like march on it. When you said music video, I'm expecting like...
When you zoomed in on that, stepping on the American flag and Israeli flag is just sort of self-evidently bad, I guess. You know, these genocidal imperialist nations.
Bad example, Chris Brown dancing, you know.
No. They do they do musicals. They're very musical people.
Praising their leaders, all while hypocritically defending Russia and China's invasion of their neighbors.
You call Crimea, I call it a part of Russian territory. That's what I call Crimea. I call it Crimea River. Bite the bullet on the Tim Houthi kid. Why? Why would I ever? If I did something that was f***ed up.
Bite the bullet? What? Like, he doesn't even make his argument. He does not make any sort of argument. You notice that, right? He just shows you things and points at them.
By my estimations, I would of course apologize for it. I have time and time again.
Name one time. He can't because he's never owned up to anything. The sun continued.
You haven't proven anything. You just show clips and insist that you are correct. This is him doing an ad, of course. Moral consistency. Let's check it out, guys. Wait, we're talking about Jews?
By some of the most inbred fundamentalist hicks.
No, it's not illegal.
It's so beautiful here. I should go to the old city so I can get my fucking shit pushed in. By some of the most inbred fundamentalist hicks.
No, it's not illegal. It's not.
It's just talking about Jews. Would it be wrong? Would this guy think that it was? Oh, he probably would. He's probably like a white nationalist. He probably would think it's wrong if you call like guys who fly Confederate flags in the U.S. inbred hicks as well. Moral consistency. Okay, let's check this out. Let's see. The first 3 minutes of the video aren't even original content. Just him showing clips for like really dumb people to get angry at.
His son's politics really baffles me. He just doesn't seem very consistent. When Russia invaded Ukraine, he constantly justified it by saying Ukrainian's army was full of Nazis. This is the same propaganda Russia pushed. His son acted like every citizen in Ukraine was on the verge of...
Did you say that he supports the invasion?
The reason why a small amount of nationalist forces gaining prominence is additionally terrifying. It's like Tinder, okay? It can call.
This clip is, or I can already tell, it's not him saying the invasion was justified because of it. It's just him saying, acknowledging that something existed.
Cause a f***ing wildfire of nationalism because it's already baked in to the attitudes of the commoner, okay? Every person already has like a predisposition towards nationalist tendencies. So the issue is when you start legitimizing the nationalist guys, boom, all of a sudden the country could turn fascist like that, okay?
He justified Russia annexing Ukraine.
What?
Regardless of whether he wants it or not, he needs it as a buffer state. Exactly. Russia's historic access into the Black Sea.
That was like him justifying that. That was literally just like an explanation of why Russia invaded, and he takes it as like him endorsing it, I guess.
Crimea, that's like, because
he just shows clips, and you're supposed to take them the way that he's framing them when they don't even say what he's saying at all, for one. And for two, he doesn't actually explain like what is even going on, why you're supposed to think it's bad. Honestly, this video, it's not transformative enough to be considered free use. It's not. Like saying one line and then showing 10 clips of someone else is not transformative. Hassan should copyright strike this, 100%. He should just copyright strike this. This would not pass in court for fair use. Hassan should just lawsuit this guy and everyone else who makes videos that are just like 5 minutes of Hassan clip and then one word of commentary. These people should not be allowed to just make money by taking your clips, compiling them, and saying one sentence every 5 minutes. This is like 3 or 4 times more successful than usual videos. You should not be allowed to get away with this shit. If you want to make a video criticizing someone, you should at least be expected to like respond to their clips for like at least half the duration that you're playing the clips. Ideally, more than the duration that you're playing the clips, but I think that's a fair standard. This is not that. It's him saying one sentence, and then he shows like 10 clips in a row. He's not even actually doing anything with the video. It's not transformative in the slightest. There's not like enough commentary here, enough criticism to qualify as fair use.
That, okay?
He justified Russia annexing Ukraine constantly.
Regardless of whether he wants it or not, he needs it as a buffer state. Exactly. Russia's historic access into the Black Sea, Crimea, that's like historically and ethnically all Russian, majority Russian.
They're Nazis. Everyone's going to be radicalized. But when it comes to a fundamentalist group like Hamas that theoretically would run the country, Hassan doesn't seem to have those same worries. He justifies it by using Republicans as stand-ins for Hamas.
I'm saying that the gay people and the trans people that are living under those conditions in Gaza, right, see Israel as a far larger problem in their existence than they do like Islamic fundamentalism in terms of governance.
That's not even like the same thing. He's talking about like homophobic attitudes in like third world countries, in colonized countries, and he's comparing that to Hassan, mentioning that like the Azov battalion exists at all in a clip where Hassan didn't actually say that he thought that justified the Russian invasion. This does not make any sense at all. Like, it's just like, this is what I say all the time. These people's strategy is to either point at something and insist that it is by default wrong, or to compare something with something that is obviously different and insist that it's the same.
If we were getting ruthlessly slaughtered by an alien force, I wouldn't give a fuck if someone was homophobic or not. I'd be like, thank you for
Why are you zooming in on this like it's not self-evidently correct? Why are you zooming in on him here? Like, you think that you just got him in like a fucking ownage moment. What's wrong about what he's saying? Can you explain that?
Fighting against the alien force. That seems awesome that you're doing that. I would actually arm up side by side with my fellow homophobic Republican rabid Christian fundamentalist sociopaths to try and protect my home. And that's the point.
That's the same thing as the Azov battalion fighting in Ukraine. How does he have these conflicting opinions? It makes no sense.
It's not, though, because the Azov battalion in Ukraine is not the only Ukrainian armed group. There's no reason for them to exist. One, the state supports them existing, which is bad. Or two, they have too much power so the state is too scared to get rid of them, which is also bad. You don't need like a specific armed group for neo-Nazis. In Palestine, Hamas is the armed group. It's the only real armed resistance, aside from other armed groups that you also hate just as much. Ukraine is a country with a real military. Azov is but one unit. So what you do in that situation, if you really want to fight the Nazis, is you just forcibly disband that unit and you take the fighters from it and you distribute them through the rest of the military. Whereas, I don't know if you know this, but Palestine does not have a military. It's not allowed to have one. If Palestine had a military, we would not be having this discussion right now at all. Yeah, I mean, I've never seen anyone say that like Azov kills gays. They're probably homophobic, but has anyone ever said
made the horrific decision to call Palestinians' culture inferior, Hassan rightfully called him out for this.
These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways.
It's terrifying. Like, saying they're inferior, saying they're evil, to justify the death and destruction that befalls them is so horrifying.
Because remember, Hassan would never call another culture inferior. He would never do that.
I don't agree in theocracy at all.
But, like, wouldn't that mean that it would be inferior?
No, I wouldn't say that any culture is inferior to one another. All life must be cherished. Their lives are no different, even if they disagree fundamentally with you.
But if we just go back to last year, Hassan was justifying China's invasion of Tibet for the same reason. Their inferior culture. He says China's imperialism is good because they focus on taking over their neighbors.
Chinese development and Chinese military action is either irredentist in nature, which is different than imperialism, where it's like it's more so expansive in its own.
This is explaining concepts. Like, do you think Hassan thinks that irredentism is good? What? This guy sees an explanation, he takes it as an endorsement.
Limited area rather than global imperialism, which is done with the express effort with the Tibet was literally a feudal slave.
Okay, for one, first thing, he was describing the difference between, say, for example, irredentism, which is like, my country has a right to take this state, this smaller country that is on our border or whatever, versus like American-style globe-spanning imperialism, where it's like, we want to essentially control as much as we reasonably can every single country in the world and force them to pursue our own interests. That was what he was talking about in the first place there, explaining the difference between like China and the US as global powers. He takes an explanation first as like an endorsement. So now let's see what the supposed Tibetan culture inferior was.
Feudal slave mandate, like autonomous zone.
China did them a favor.
That was one. I mean, in America, when I say something like this, people get very upset. You know, we talk about the Dalai Lama saying "suck my tongue" or whatever, but like that's not far from the norm in normal Tibetan existence before the Communist Party came in. And
China unilaterally took over Tibet, like welfare their culture. They basically are trying to, homogenize the culture.
In the name of squashing an inferior culture, China killed over 87,000 Tibetans. That's 1.2 million, 1 out of every 6 Tibetans.
So let's talk about these comparisons for a second. I think it should be pretty self-evident. So Asmongold said that Palestinians deserve to be genocided because they have an inferior culture, because genocide is literally baked into their laws. That's the quote that he said. For one, that's not true. And he explicitly said they have an inferior culture. Straight up, they deserve to be genocided because they have an inferior culture. And the justification that he came up with to justify this idea was that they have genocide baked into their laws. Now, if you can find the genocide law in Palestinian law, in the Palestinian, legal code, please bring it up for us. You're going to have trouble with that. Now, let us talk about Tibet. What did Hassan say about Tibet? Tibet was a country that had slavery, serfdom. This was bad. When China invaded Tibet, it abolished slavery and serfdom. This was good. Do you think that slavery and serfdom are like protected cultural characteristics? Is that the argument that you're making here? Is that genuinely what you believe? So would you say that it was genocide when the North attacked the southern US and forced them to abolish slavery? Was that genocide, my friend? I would like to see your answer to that question. Now, perhaps slavery and serfdom was indeed the culture of someone in Tibet. Like a tiny economic and social elite. But it certainly was not Tibetan culture. Do you think that most people in Tibet owned slaves and had serfs? Obviously, such a system could not possibly exist. Such a system requires a minority to exercise control over a majority who are the slaves and the serfs themselves. So, you compared there someone making up bullshit to justify genocide with someone invoking something that actually really did exist and that really was abolished as a result of the Chinese invasion, which was literally fucking slavery, like a socioeconomic system of oppression. Like the whole video is comparing things that aren't the same and insisting they're the same, apparently. I do not give a shit about preserving the culture of like a tiny slave-owning elite anywhere in the world. Do you? I would hope not. I would hope that you can see the difference in feudal lords in Tibet owning slaves and Asmongold saying that Palestinians believe that in genocide, so they deserve to be genocided. Something which is not true. Asmongold outright said that, Palestinian culture, all Palestinians are inferior. I do not think that saying that slavery is bad, it's good that it was abolished is the same thing as that. This is, by the way, this is the first the very first thing off Google.
I don't understand how you could be pro-Palestine and then support Russia and China. Israel's neighbors with Gaza. Does that make what they're doing okay? No, of course not.
Do you think it's okay? Have you ever made a video denouncing it? It seems like instead of actually denouncing it, you just attack people who are against it. I wonder why that is. I wonder why you are so extremely laser focused on that. It's almost like you support the genocide and you're too fucking cowardly to say so.
Oh, of course not. His politics makes no sense. It's constant.
Let's be fair to you. I don't think anything really makes sense to you. You're too fucking dumb to understand anything. But let's even be real about that first. Like, of course it doesn't make sense to you. You think that, like, abolishing slavery is an attack on culture. You think that abolishing slavery is genocide. So, yeah, I'd say you're quite confused here. And I think basically anything would confuse you.
Contradicting himself. But then you realize that he's America bad all the time. That's it.
Let me explain to you two principles that you should keep with you, coming from a person who's Turkish, okay? When you look at a situation in the Middle East, you look at what the local government is and who the Western forces are. Never align with the Western forces. That's a principle that you could take home with you. If you want to actually be moral or if you want to be smart about
how we can't actually explain to us how this is wrong. Oh, you just say America bad, America bad. Why do you talk like a 12-year-old? Why are we not able to actually engage with what is being said and just show clips? Why? You haven't responded to fucking anything this whole video. You just show clips. Again, Hassan, copyright strike this guy. Copyright strike him, please. If he contests it, take him to court, and then YouTube has to abide by whatever the court says. And I think there's a pretty good chance that the court would say that this does not constitute legitimate fair use, because he's not actually making any criticism of what he's saying. He's just saying, here's what he said and showing clips of it. That is not transformative criticism. It's just like a rage compilation.
the way you analyze other countries, that's one basic principle that you can take home with you.
Sort of slop content that should be banned on the YouTube service. It should not be. People should not be allowed to make money off just showing clips of other people and not adding anything to them.
All of a sudden,
people like this should be working in McDonald's, working in the mines, not making tons of money off this shit.
Magically, you are above on your foreign policy analysis. You would be better off than 90% of people that look at the situation.
That's not what an analysis is. That's doing the same thing Sneeko does. And Sasan's always...
Why can you actually respond to him?
Been this way. He doesn't care about principles or being morally consistent.
Do I think that this could be a dangerous precedent? Absolutely. But the right has been doing this for a very long time. That's the point. They're wrong, and I hate their tactics. No one cares about being morally consistent, or no one cares about... I do. I care about that. I know you do, but in the end of the day...
He just wants his side to win at all costs. It's tournament...
Well, yeah, because his side is actually, a side that actually wants good things, and the Republicans want to institute, bad things. I think that's probably why he's saying that. Right? It's fucking obvious, right? You'd be sitting there abiding by your principles if Hitler puts you in a camp. Well, no, you wouldn't put you in a camp. You'd be by his side. But you know what I mean. Like, playing by your morals and principles while people who don't play by them work to, destroy you is probably not a good idea.
Running straight up terrorist propaganda for the past 10 months.
Mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia, mamma mia. I'll be making fucking dough.
This segment is entirely about Rashid. Made 5 days ago. This is months after all of the facts regarding what he actually is, his relation to the Houthis and stuff like that were established. Let's see what he says. Let's see if he digs himself a hole that could possibly result in a big, nice payment for our friend in Yemen.
In the pizzeria.
Hassan has been rewriting history when it comes to the Houthi terrorists he did propaganda for. Now he's just...
What makes them terrorists? You never explained to us what terrorism is and why you think they're terrorists.
Some random teenager.
Random fucking Yemeni teenager. The Yemeni kid not connected to the Houthis. And
he is a 19-year-old Yemeni teenager, not from the Houthi tribe, nor from the Houthi organization.
This has been
established for months at this point. For months.
Not only does it not matter to me if he was or not, it would obviously change the dynamic of the interview if he was. Most people don't know that he isn't a Houthi or have seen his post about respecting Jews. I don't really care. They will just say, oh, he's doing PR.
These are all provable lies. When Hassan initially interviewed the Houthi, it was framed as him being a terrorist.
Bro, are we about to have a Houthi rebel on stream? Yes, brother. What do you mean?
It was framed as him thinking that. And then he was corrected in the middle of the interview when the guy was like, no, actually, I'm just a random guy who uploaded TikToks.
Excuse me. Of course I'm about to have I'm a journalist, okay? This is journalism.
When Hassan asked if he was Houthi, the guy did not answer, instead referring to the Houthis' justification for pirating commercial ships.
I don't know if he is allowed to speak on this. I don't know if he's actually a part of the groups at all, or just simply...
He said, no, he doesn't actually know. He said, this is just contradicting the clip that you just showed, because he didn't actually know.
TikToker.
You shouldn't show clips that just contradict what you just tried to imply.
You know what I mean? I don't know how to ask that in the best way possible, though.
Yeah, I feel like you can ask it pretty directly. His answer is he's a Yemeni who stands with Palestine.
Hassan will go on to greenlight the...
He's a Yemeni who stands with Palestine, so he did not say that he is a member of the organization or anything. That's your proof that he is? I think we should at least ask a decent defamation lawyer about this.
Houthis' mission of attacking civilian commercial ships on behalf of him and his entire chat.
We think
attacking civilian. Look at his fucking face there. That is like a wow. That was incredible. Did you see him?
We think the.
Where is it?
I feel like we can ask.
His mission of attacking civilian commercial
Look at like the fake outrage face.
ships on behalf of him and his entire.
Like the fake outrage face, the fake gestures. The no chin, like he's the guy from the comic strip, and it's like, where the fuck is your chin? That's this guy.
Chad. We think the Houthis, Ansar Allah, is doing what Luffy would do. You should tell him that.
The whole point of this interview was to make this Houthi soldier seem related.
You know how this guy, he does not see any reason to argue, not just why this guy is a terrorist, he does not see any reason to argue why it is wrong to blockade ships from countries that are supporting genocide. He does not try to argue, how this guy is linked to that, how the Houthis are terrorists. He does not point to any sort of specific anything. He just feels that it's a default that everyone should agree with. When if you cornered him on this, do you think he could tell you? Like, I'd love to get this guy on stream and say, okay, hands up, show us your hands, no Googling. Explain to us in 5 minutes or less how and why the Houthis are terrorists. Not even that guy, how the Houthis are terrorists. I would fucking love to know that.
He's just like me and you. One of his viewers would point this out, and Hassan would tell him to shut up.
Maybe explain why you're trying to get this type of humanizing information from. Okay, shut up, chatter. Come on, it's not like that's crazy. What does he have to say to dumbasses that consider him to be a terrorist? What does he think about that? Ask a question. I just banned one of those stupid f***ers in the chat just now.
She says, "Who are they?"
Just fucking dumbasses.
Wow, what an insightful interview. When a viewer offered a real question for Hassan to ask, Hassan ignores it, instead asking about food.
Okay, I want to ask. What else do I want to ask? So, like, I mean, he's...
What real question?
Ask him if he would stop going on boats if Israel stops the genocide. I mean, yeah, he's going to say yes, chat.
They've already said that. That's why the blockade is being carried out, to stop the genocide. And for one, he's not even doing that. He's a guy who visited one of the boats because it's a literal fucking tourist attraction that anyone can visit. The organization has straight up said that numerous times.
What are you talking about? Those are like dumbass questions. Has he ever had like Western food?
Great question. Hassan is woven an imaginary personality.
How dare you treat this guy from Yemen like a 19-year-old guy from Yemen? How dare you treat him like a human being? How dare you try to have a conversation with another human being rather than treating him like a terrorist because of his nationality and the fact that he's against Israeli genocide? How dare you? How dare you, Mr. No-Chin here? He's enraged by that. You can't explain to me how and why this guy is a terrorist. You can't even explain to me why the Houthis are terrorists. And for the record, this guy is obviously not even connected to them in any formal manner. But how dare you ask normal questions about himself? They are not to be humanized.
For this guy, where he's not a Houthi, he's not anti-Semitic, he's basically just Anne Frank.
First of all, he wasn't Houthi. I asked him, he was like, I'm not.
This never happened in his interview. He's just lying. When the pirate was asked if he was a soldier on it.
The pirate was so he's a pirate, he's a Houthi terrorist, he's all of these things that you would need to actually prove in court.
Instagram, he replied yes. Now his Instagram was banned, but this was still documented in news articles.
What does it mean if he's a soldier anyway? Let's say that he was a soldier. By the way, Healer Klein said that she was a soldier. So okay, let's say that he said that he was a soldier. Could you explain how that makes him a terrorist exactly? He's being a Yemeni and being a soldier terrorist?
Was at the time. It was the current governing body in Yemen. It's the Houthis.
So the Houthis are, you recognize the Houthis as the legitimate government of Yemen. Thank you for that. Thank you for taking a firm stand against the American foreign policy line that actually the Saudi-backed, Israeli-backed government is the real government of Yemen. Thank you for your recognition. We appreciate it. Terrorist?
Thing this live from Hassan.
Many people said, oh, he's hiding his PR trained, which is really funny to say about like some random.
Look at that guy, PR trained.
Dude who can't even speak English.
You said that. It was because he wouldn't answer the only two serious questions you asked.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he's very media trained, surprisingly, but okay.
Now, I used to think Hassan just had zero critical thinking skills, but the truth is he's doing propaganda.
And I asked him, like, what do you think about Jewish people? What if I were to tell you that, like, Jewish people are leading the anti-Zionist movement in America? And he was like, that's great. I love them. That's awesome. Anyone who's against Israel is my friend.
Even here, Hassan is completely over-embellishing what was said.
Ask what he thinks about the fact that in America, some of the leading groups that are pro-Palestine are led by Jewish people who are anti-Israel. How does he feel about that?
He's saying anyone that supports Palestine, we're with.
Hell yeah. Good shit.
That's it.
Okay. How is that contradictory to what Hassan said he said? Any plans to explain?
That's all he said. The same media-trained answer he's been giving Hassan all night. Hassan goes on and compares him to Anne Frank.
He is a person whose only experience is it's literally like...
Yeah. Do you not know anything about fucking Yemen? Yemen was subjected to a 10-year fucking long Saudi American-Israeli genocide. He's 19 years old. This guy, when that began, he was a fucking child. He was like 9, 10. So yeah, comparing him to another child who endured genocide, yeah, I would say that is a fair comparison. It's a way fairer comparison than any of the comparisons that you've made here. You compared fucking wanting to abolish slavery to wanting to genocide people for having an inferior culture. I don't know. I don't know about your capacity to make apt comparisons here.
Like talking to Anne Frank, basically, okay? Being able to talk to Anne Frank in real time.
Now, I don't remember Anne Frank being part of a militia group that boarded commercial vessels and took
You know what? Maybe Anne Frank should have been part of a militia group that boarded commercial vessels and took captives. Maybe she should have. I wish she would have. Are you against, like, blockades on Nazi shipping? Are you against Jewish resistance to Nazi shipping? Do you think that if Anne Frank was a member of a resistance group, she would have been a terrorist? That's the implication that you're making here. And I'm not sure about you taking that route. It's a pretty bad one. You might want to backtrack that. Like, defending people who were murdered by the Nazis by saying, like, they didn't even take up weapons is implying that if they did, it would have been wrong. You get that, right? These people did. They took up arms against the people who wanted to wipe them out. The Saudis, the Americans, the Israelis. And they grew so strong that as a result of that, they are now able to blockade ships from countries that support an ongoing genocide in another country. They don't have to do that. They choose to do it. And good on them for doing so. If only Anne Frank had survived to be able to do something like this.
shooting missiles at commercial ships that have nothing to do with their stated mission.
Missiles at commercial ships that have nothing to do with their state, no connection to Israel. Do you know that basically like every single ship, every single country in Europe, the US, Canada, Australia, fucking supports Israel? Out the fucking ass. Weapons, trade, everything they could ever want. They get it. Diplomatic support, they get it. So just saying the ship has no connection with Israel specifically is an obvious lie, because by proxy, by that, every fucking ship there has a connection to Israel. Could you imagine this guy arguing against like a British blockade on Germany in World War II, saying like, oh, but they're attacking ships from like pro-Axis countries as well. Okay, and good on them, honestly.
Against Israel. But you know, Anne Frank had a diary. This guy had Twitter, so let's read it. Here's him saying you shouldn't be afraid of the Houthi unless you're a Jew. They are very afraid of this title. Here's him.
So one of the things that these people like to do is they like to weaponize the fact that if you are in the Middle East, Jew is synonymous with Israeli. And the reason for that is that the Israelis have made it synonymous. You know, they like that. Israel, Zionists have worked to make Jew synonymous with Israeli all throughout the world, because they want people to believe that, like, for one, to be Jewish is something incredibly special, and for two, to be Jewish means to be a Zionist. So when you are a Yemeni and you have a genocide being conducted against your country for a decade by the Saudis, supported by the US, who is the principal enabler of Israel, and the Israelis themselves, what does Jew mean to you? It means Israeli. It means these people have just supported. So they use that as a synonym with no regard, as anyone else in the same situation would. Just as people in World War II, you know? Do you think that American soldiers fighting the Nazis only said Nazi? No, they said German. They called them Krauts. You know why that is? Because what do they know of Germans? Aside from that they were fighting them and they were Nazis. Those American soldiers did not endure themselves at the hands of the Nazis anything akin to what this guy has endured, to what Yemen has endured at the hands of Zionists, at the hands of the Americans and the Israelis. So the best that you have against them is that they do not make a distinction that, to be clear, Israel does not even want them to make. It's just so self-evidently weak. Like a Yemeni thinks that Jews are Israelis. A Yemeni who probably has no idea that there are Jews who don't live in Israel and don't want to live in Israel associates the country that claims incessantly that it is a representative of the Jewish people, that is made up of majority Jews who go and massacre people in all of its neighboring countries in the name of what they say is Judaism and Jewishness. You're surprised that that guy would equate Jew with Israeli, Jew with Zionist? You blame him for that, but not the people who made that happen? That's all there is to say about that. It's pretty self-evidently absurd, and imagine this fucking moron trying to argue against it. I could not imagine him trying to argue against anything, honestly.
Be afraid of the Houthi unless you're a Jew. They are very afraid of this title. Here's him insulting his enemies by calling them son of a Jew. He would post pictures on the—
That is a lyric to a song, I'm pretty sure.
The pirated ship saying ready for sacrifice, longing for martyrdom.
Okay. Longing for martyrdom? I've never heard anyone pronounce that word that way in my life. Martyrdom. What, he wants to become like a Rick and Morty character? Is that that's the only way that makes any sense, my friend? I love you. Like, it's obvious how out of your depth you are, but the fact that you can't even pronounce the word martyr.
Pictures on the pirated ship saying ready for sacrifice.
What, ready for like, can you not imagine yourself? You can't imagine yourself someone being willing to fight for something bigger than themselves, can you? All that you can imagine is fighting for like the destruction of the social order, so that people are driven to work for Grubhub and deliver you Big Macs for cheaper than they did before. You literally cannot believe that someone would say, yeah, I'm ready to sacrifice myself to fight for a cause bigger than mine, like, you know, against the fucking genocide. To you, this is like self-evidently bad. To a sane human, it is the opposite.
For martyrdom, just like Anne Frank, he actually invited Hassan to join the Houthi in operations of Israeli ships. This guy...
Like, again, he's implying that if Anne Frank and her family had engaged in armed resistance, it would have been okay for the Nazis to kill them. They would have been bad people. They would have been terrorists. Yeah, because that's the only distinction that he's not actually trying to make a distinction between them as people, between what they have experienced. He's rather just appealing to the fact that Anne Frank did not pick up a gun. That's the only argument that he's made. And that argument takes you to a pretty fucking dark place.
Posted an illustration of what he described to be a Zionist impaled on a stake, saying the executions he will carry out on all Zionists.
Okay, and what is a Zionist to this guy especially? A Zionist is someone who is currently fucking genociding people in Palestine. What if he said this execution will carry out on all Nazis? Would that be wrong? Would that be bad? I mean, no, you would think that's... I'm sorry, yeah, you would think... You're a Nazi, you would think that's fucking bad. You would talk about how it's anti-white racism. You talk about how cracker is...
This guy is anti-Semitic. The Houthi flag states, death to America, death to Israel, a curse upon the Jews. And to
I already explained precisely why that is the case. How dare they? How dare they hate Israel and the USA? How dare they hate the people who have done everything possible to make them hate them?
Defends him, saying he's not anti-Semitic, he's just anti-Zionist.
He made a post saying he wants to kill all Zionists and posted a picture of a Jewish person being spiked.
These people are so fucking dumb. Could you imagine this idiot attempting to speak to me live?
I don't think that's what he... What? Yeah, I don't know. Also, I don't even give a shit. This is why this entire conversation is idiotic. It's not a Jewish person. He said this is, I think, why am I held accountable for some random 19-year-old in Yemen's tweets? What is happening? How many steps removed are we from this situation? How? How is this the conversation that you want to have right now? I fucking despise all of you, dude.
I mean, precisely. That's really the crux of it, isn't it? This guy is making videos, desperately trying to get views, while sponsored by like fucking personal finance scams, just posting Hassan clips and offering no substantial criticism, no refutation, not even an explanation for what he's trying to imply. While a genocide is happening, that is what he's doing. That is like the level of his engagement with the world. That is what he cares about. Probably the reason why he's so angry about this is just because it perfectly describes him. This part right here, that is you. This is you, my man. He's talking about you. You're desperately trying to spin some clips of Hassan in like any which way and not even trying to explain what you find wrong with them in any sort of detail. Like, not in one case have you ever actually directly dealt with it with one of them. And people are being massacred right now. Children are being blown up, blown to fucking smithereens. And this is what you're talking about. How much you like disagree with someone for reasons that you cannot explain. Who's against all of that? It is so self-evidently absurd and stupid.
I do. I really do. I hate all of you.
You weren't responsible for his tweets, but you're...
What's wrong with his tweet? How can you argue he's not part of the Houthi? Because he posted a video about ships being sunk by the Houthis and said, to every Zionist, I will put this into your stomach. This is for you, this is evidence of him being a Houthi. Not that it would be bad if he was, but I would love for this to be taken to court and for him to be like, Your Honor, he posted a tweet saying that he wants to shoot Zionists. I rest my case. He's a former member of the Houthi organization.
Constantly playing defense for this guy's anti-Semitism. I want to take a moment and talk about the word Zionist. All it means is someone who thinks Israel has the right to exist, which is...
And all that Nazi means is someone who thinks that Germany has the right to exist as a sovereign Aryan state, right? That's all that it means, no?
90% of Jewish people. Now, it's not real.
Oh, this is 90% of Israeli Jews. That was not 90% of Jews. It was 90% of Israeli. He just equated all Jews with Israelis. Did you see that headline? 90% of Israeli Jews. So he just did the thing where you equate Israeli with Jewish. Incredible. And isn't it interesting how apparently Israel should be allowed to have a state at the expense of Palestinians on stolen Palestinian land from which they expelled 800,000 Palestinians and have massacred hundreds of thousands more. Just because they're Jewish and they say they should have it. That's the logic of this guy here. It's the appeal to Jewishness fallacy. If a sufficient majority of Jews want something, that's it. You don't have to make any other argument. Done. Okay, this is taking away. There's no way I'm watching 35 minutes of this guy making a statement confidently, showing a bunch of clips that are barely even related to that statement, providing no explanation for what he thinks was wrong in that clip, and then just moving on as if he's proven his point. It's just going to be the same throughout the video. I've watched way too much of it already, but I mean, yeah, this has been your Slop Watch, and I give this slop YouTuber a 0 out of 10. At no point did he make a coherent argument, and no point did he provide any evidence for his beliefs. It is so bad that legitimately, if he took this to court for a violation of fair use principles, it would not pass. It would not pass the fair use test.
We look at a lot of narcissistic parents on this channel. A lot of you guys might remember the video, insane narcissistic mom loses it when son refuses to come home. I think my video has like 5 million views. The original has over 40 million, which is crazy because that video was like an hour long, which kind of tells me that's something that a lot of us relate to. Maybe experiencing a bad parent, maybe going through a lot of emotional manipulation and seeing it in 4K and realizing, oh my God, this is real. It's a crazy feeling, especially having sympathy for the person that's on the screen in front of you and sometimes putting yourself in the same place as that person. Now, this video is interesting. It has one aspect that I'm not familiar with that I actually know a lot of people have dealt with before.
7 years ago, my mom made an account in my social in my name, and I didn't know about it.
It's one of the most shocking dynamics I feel like I have ever seen in family relationships.
This is how you act when you drink. This is why you never come over and see me.
And that is financial abuse. This is something that has always shocked me because how could a parent do that to their child? Even more interestingly is how can a parent do that to their child and then make them feel like it's all their fault. 10 years ago, my mom set up an AT&T account in my name so she could have cable TV. She didn't have good enough credit, so she decided to ruin mine. She canceled the account and moved, failing to pay the last bill. I started receiving bills in the mail and got a call from collection. This girl sitting here in the front, this is the woman that uploaded it. This is the daughter. Over here on the right is the mom. The mom is making a call right now to AT&T because she told her daughter that she would pay the bill, fix it up, and close the account. And so her daughter said, well, you get them on the phone. You get them on the phone right now and fix it. And so she said, all right. So that's where we are now.
No, I don't need anything. I live with my boyfriend, and he has everything in his. I don't need anything. I just need to resolve. I don't need anything.
So you have a closing bill that's under your daughter's name, and you want to know what's going on with that bill.
She wants to put it in her name.
Yes, she said it's easier if I just pay you for that bill.
I need you to take care of your bill.
We can take you to accounts receivable, then you can pay the account.
Okay, so it's already. Hold on. It's already closed. What is the amount?
What's the account number?
I don't know. I just got the bill.
Do you have the bill in front of you?
No, I don't have the bill in front of me.
Yo, this is about to send me already. This is such a small detail, but what's happening here is the mom doesn't want to take any accountability that she opened up this account. It's entirely her account. The daughter has never opened this account. She has never seen this account. She has never used this account. She has nothing to do with it. So when the lady on the phone asked her, what is the account number? The mom looks at the daughter. The mom knows that her daughter has nothing to do with this account. So why the fuck is she even looking at her? And then the lady on the phone says, well, do you have a bill for the account? And then the mom's like, do you have the bill? Why the fuck would she have the bill? So it's so weird that the mom knows her daughter has no involvement in this at all. But for some reason, to take a little accountability off herself, she's roping her daughter in like she's involved in this at all. She has no information. This is the start of me losing it.
Okay, so Haley.
What was the phone number when you set it up? It was you that set it up, right?
I have no idea how to make this account. I don't know.
Okay, my phone number
Daughter says, I don't know. I don't have this information. I didn't make the account. And her mom says, oh my God. Like her daughter's the problem. These are the very small details that will make people lose their f***ing mind, especially children that don't understand what's happening. When the mom says, oh my God, that tone, those words, all of that, it makes somebody feel like they have done something wrong. She didn't do anything wrong. She doesn't have the information. So there's absolutely no reason for that tone or those words to come out.
Okay, let me get, that's the number you've given, and you'll pop up, okay? You're going to talk to accounts receivable, and then take a payment, okay?
Well, I can't pay it today, but I want to know. Yeah, I can't pay it today.
Okay, well, I'm not having it affect my credit. I'm not having it in my name. They can put it in your name, and they can have you pay it when you can.
Okay, let's see what the note says. In the beginning, She made it seem like she was going to pay. Now she says not today. Also, never admitting that she made the account and that it should just be transferred to her for billing purposes. Her daughter's not even asking her to pay this today. She said, I didn't do this. Take some accountability and transfer this over to you.
I don't care. I don't want this in my social security number.
The account is closed.
Yeah, and that's an issue now because it's affecting me, not you.
I can't get any.
So now the account is closed and it's on default or whatever. It's unpaid, but it's still in her name. That's what the problem is.
I can't get any information because you just talk and yell.
Well, I don't have the account number. Like,
How much is the bill?
I don't know. I have to fucking find it.
Why'd you call him without it?
Because
He said, why did you call it without you having the bill in your hand? Why does she keep just throwing the problem back at her? Oh, I don't even have to explain this. You feel it. You feel it. You feel it in your bones, don't you? I don't know if you do. I do. If you feel it in your bones that this has happened to you, you were not in the wrong.
Why'd you call him without it?
Because they should be able to look this shit up. That's why. No, you're not fucking leaving. That's right.
Talk to me nice or I'm leaving.
Mom, I'm so done with you.
It's Lynette. I'm with my daughter. I'm trying to figure out. She has a bill for $100 at a parent.
No, she doesn't have a bill for $100. You know it's not. Ooh. Oh! Let's try not to get trigger challenged. Where are my notes? Where are my phone? Where are the notes? It's not real. And I'm in a happy place. It's not real, and I'm in a happy place.
What happened was 7 years ago, my mom made an account in my social and my name, and I didn't know about it for
TV
cable,
only.
for TV. And
Hate that right there. The daughter comes on and starts to say what the problem is. This is a huge problem. This is up. And then the mom immediately minimizes it by saying, it's just TV. Credit is credit. Taking your child's identity, it is a problem. Credit is credit. Bills are bills. Defaulting on something under her name and stealing your child's identity. That is the issue. And so sometimes people want to minimize what you're fighting for when you're fighting for the principle. And they're like, oh, it was just a joke. Oh, it was just a bill. No, you're fighting for the principle. And then they make you feel bad by diminishing it to something as silly as TV. She's venting, rightfully so, about the position she's in. And the mom says it's just TV. And she then feels like she's being too much. So she corrects herself and says, okay, yeah, it was a TV. But it's so much more than that. Listen to that again.
what happened was 7 years ago, my mom made an account in my social and my name, and I didn't know about it for cable, for TV. And I am 22 now, living alone, and I'm getting bills, and I have you guys for my cell phone and my cell phone only. I have Comcast for my cable, so I'm getting cable bills from AT&T by a name that I have never gone by. So stop. I need this bill. So are you for doing this to me? I need this bill put into her social because I am not having it affect me. I don't want her to pay me. I want her to pay the bill off herself. That's what we need done. I don't know the name of the account. No, she closed it. She closed it with my name and my social, and now now I have a bill to pay.
Yep.
It's already closed. There's not need to change anything on it because it's a closed account. Can I just pay the bill? How much is the bill that I can just pay? What's the account number, and I'll be able to check that for you.
I only know mine.
She doesn't
I don't know. I didn't.
So
That's what I know.
I don't know.
I don't know. She's the problem. It's the little things. The little things. And they hurt so bad.
So what's your social?
Oh, you don't know it since you used it?
I love how she is fighting for herself and not backing down because my boy, I never had no balls. I didn't have it. If you tell me it's my fault, then I would say, okay, well, I guess it's my fault and I'll just go away in the corner now. But she said, oh, you don't have my social number? Why don't you go get it? Honestly, I would call the fucking cops. I'm not playing at this point. Now, I am here. I would call the police. Watch them drag you away. Say, where's my social now?
It pisses me off that
The lady doesn't need to hear all this.
It just pisses me off that
She's trying to help us.
pisses me off that
She's trying to help us.
The lady doesn't need need to hear all of this bickering. She's trying to help us. What is she doing? Her mother is making herself a unit with somebody else so that her daughter feels isolated. When you are fighting for a cause and somebody makes you feel isolated, you start to feel like you're in the wrong because you're like, why is everybody over there? Why is everybody on that team? And why am I alone? This feels wrong. I swear I'm right. Why is nobody with me? When you feel isolated, you will stop fighting for your cause. And she did it in such a simple way.
So you did something and you don't even remember what you did. You're an idiot. Yeah, well, good luck, Mom. You can just use my social.
I'm sorry. She's totally open. I'm trying to take care of this.
You know what? It's not covered up for me under that.
Under that social?
Is it anything? Is it something that's affecting my credit or what?
I don't know if it's affecting my credit or not.
Principal.
I've never known about this until I started. She doesn't have your social. I need her to pay this bill over the phone, and I'm done. I'm so irritated right now. This is my social security number.
Okay, the lady is trying to help us. She doesn't have anything in your social.
Stop interrupting me, Mom. I don't need your background noise.
I hate this mom debate. I hate it. But I've dealt with this a lot before, and over the past couple of years, I kind of wanted to understand. A parent like this can be made, in my opinion, when as a child they were forced to take a lot of accountability for things that weren't necessarily their fault. So if a parent like this from a very young age was blamed for everything by a parent or a caretaker, they fear accountability. They fear even the smallest bit of accountability. So then now, because they didn't work through their stuff, they're going to pass on a new form of that to their child. They push all accountability onto everybody around them. They want everyone around them to fix their problems. They want everybody around them to take accountability for things that they caused. They fear accountability so much that they have developed an arsenal of tools to push it back by any means necessary because it hurts so badly. Just some food for thought. You don't have to extend grace to people that hurt you, but it can give you a sense of relief if you can understand why they are the way they are. Grace is over. Fuck this lady.
How much is the bill you get?
It's like $150.
So I'll just give you the money for the fucking bill, and then you pay it off, and it's done.
But I also need to know if it's affected me anyway, if there's any late
Then
fees
you
or
pull
anything.
your credit account, and you'll see.
I don't even know how to do that.
Find the bill and give me the bill.
You. Stop trying to do shit when I'm trying
That's
to get
what
this
they
taken
both
care of.
said. They
I don't know
said
where the bill is at, Mom.
Mom tries to take control again. Daughter says, fuck you, dude. I know exactly what you're doing. Yes, dude. She said, get back in here. Where are you going?
I don't care, dude. You know, I don't know. All I know is that I started getting a bill that I'd never made, and this has been going on for 7 years, which is extremely, ridiculous. I would think that if she wanted to use my social, she could ask me.
You know what's also really scary is that the daughter just said, I don't know how to check my credit. Who knows what else is on there? She just started getting this bill after a couple of years. I would not be surprised if there ends up being more stuff on there.
You both said I should just give you the $100.
Yeah, well, I didn't know the exact bill price because I'm not going to get gypped by you.
Oh.
Fucking alcoholics are ridiculous.
Ooh.
This is how you act when you drink. This is why you never come over and see me. Because I can't handle you when you drink.
She's doing so good. Oh! This girl's doing, she's doing so good.
Can you transfer me to the fraud department, please?
Yes. The other lady on the phone, I bet you she believes the daughter too, because there's way too much.
She already transferred me.
I would also report her for fraud to the government too, because she used her daughter's social security number for the automatic credit check because her credit was bad, and then she just made up a fake name and closed the account and then thought it didn't matter. That's fraud in general.
No, if I'm in the middle of trying to resolve something, you're not going anywhere.
Bro, she pissed. I just realized she sped up the video. I thought she slammed that thing shut. I was like, fine, I get it.
I said you're not going anywhere right now because I'm trying to resolve something. What?
Mom wants to have a little control by getting out of the room. Just doesn't want to be in there with all of it. Wants to feel like she has a little bit of agency.
Like, I don't even want to give you mascara right now because you're being held irritating and, like, rude to me. I never asked you to take my dog for a walk. I can walk him perfectly by myself, thank you.
Oh, dude. I hate that she's like so alone in this call right now. Sometimes feeling alone for a while will really start to wear her down. And you can be really strong in your convictions for a while. And then the more that you get isolated, this could happen over a few minutes, hours, weeks, months. Especially if it's happening within a group, the isolation will wear you down. It will wear you down. And just because the isolation wears you down doesn't mean that you're wrong. If you just can't fight anymore, that's okay. Put it down, but look back on it a few years later and validate yourself if you can. Because if you don't, you will have lingering self-doubt for a very long time. And it is a superpower to be able to trust yourself. You gotta have an ally. Best ally is yourself.
This is what they gave me for Christmas at work.
She's still trying to communicate with her mom, even though her mom served this hard, bro. Yeah, she's either trying to connect with her or trying to get her in the room.
Fix this so I can take him around the block before I go. Okay.
I don't like this because this could be a couple different things. You know, not every one person is the same, but what I think I see is a combination of, hey, you do this. I need to see how much control I have, and look at what I'm gonna do for you. Yeah, of course, you walking the dog is easier for you to manage than taking accountability for what you did to me.
Don't unplug my phone. I'm not charging. Don't unplug it. Hello? Hello? Hi. Hi. We have an issue. My mom made an account in my name and my
10 years
social
ago?
7 years ago.
Time doesn't matter. That's another way to minimize.
In a name that I don't go by, and she sent the box back and she moved. So I need you guys to put the account that she made in her name with her social, so it's her bill.
So what happened? I'm here.
We don't get involved in family disputes. You need to take her to court.
Okay, so can I just find out how much this bill is? I think it's 100 and some.
Okay, who am I speaking to?
This is the mom, Lynette. She thinks it's in her social, but the lady before you said she couldn't find anything under her social.
But you didn't find it because you canceled the account.
Yeah, but you know you made everything up. The bill got canceled at AT&T and it went on to collections.
Because it's a closed account and canceled, I guess, from last year when I tried to deal with this.
Okay, I would need to get the social from the person who is claiming identity theft.
Okay, okay, Haley's number is...
Can you spot what I'm about to get triggered over? She said, I need the number from the person who is claiming identity theft. Identity theft is a very, very, very serious crime. Now that the telephone operator has said it, the mother needs to get control of this. She needs to make it seem like she's helping. She wouldn't commit a crime. This is all a misunderstanding. And also she needs to take agency away from her daughter by her giving the number. Is she about to fire the social security number off from the top of her head?
And what's your social?
Oh, you don't know it since you used it?
Okay, I would need to get the social from the person who is claiming identity theft.
Okay, Haley's number is... What's her name?
I can't take it from you.
Oh, she's sitting, yeah, she's right here.
So, are you going to
just give her the number?
Are you filing this as a bill?
You're not in control.
You're going to tell us the amount that the bill is.
I can give her the amount, but now it's not identity theft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let me see here. What's that? There's two accounts. There's a cell phone account.
Yeah, the cell phone account is the phone that I'm talking to you on right now. The other account is the one that we need to know the amount of money that it is.
That amount is going to be $152.48.
Okay, so it's $152.48. Do you suggest I just pay her the $152.48 or...
Oh, God, this is so tiny. It's so minuscule. Like, you might have felt a sting. Oh, okay. Yeah, you guys are feeling the sting. If you feel the sting and you don't know why, this is why I think it is. I always say think. I'm giving you a lot of opinions here. Feel free to take in what you want, throw the rest out. Let me play it again one more time.
Okay, so it's $152.48. Do you suggest I just pay her the $152.48 or...
The fucking operator does not have the final judgment. Well, she just said we don't handle family stuff. What the mom wants is for another person in authority, somebody over there, which in this case it's the operator. This is the highest form of external authority they have. The mom wants the operator to say, yes, I think you should just pay her the $158. Because if the operator says that, the mom is going to ride that all the way to the fucking bank. She's gonna say, the lady said this, the lady said this. And then once again, we have the daughter isolated, and then we have the team over here with the final verdict. Even though the operator doesn't have any jurisdiction to make that say.
Pay her the $152.48, or where do I send this money to clear this mess up?
So you guys don't tell her to go to court again.
I mean, whoever makes the payment, it doesn't matter. But I can get you some billing to make the payment. I mean,
Well, I'm not gonna pay it today, but
Yes, you
I
are.
can't.
You're gonna give me cash today, or you're gonna
Okay,
pay
so
it.
can I get the information to to call back to make the payment, or to mail the payment?
sure, no problem. The number is 1-800.
Okay, let me get a pen here.
Hold on. I need.
I got one right here.
Wait. A quick check-in. I know some of you guys don't get triggered by emotionally manipulative stuff, and you're just here for the drama, the gossip, the whatever. But you guys, did you get triggered? Are you okay? Are you good? I know that there's probably a lot of stings here. I'm stinging right here, bro. Feels like my whole body got shot up with bullet holes. I want you to know that you're older now, you're much more aware, and it will never happen to you like this again. You're too aware. You're way, way, way too aware. Doesn't mean that it's not gonna hurt again, especially if you're like deep in the moment. You will have a level of consciousness higher than you did when it first happened. You're doing better, okay? This isn't exposure therapy, this is endurance training.
If I was to do it over the phone, and it asked me for a billing address, do I use her address in Oakland?
I'm getting the bills right now.
Mom's in control. She's asking dumb questions that she doesn't need the answers to. She just wants to feel in control. She's got everything down. The daughter's not saying anything. And then the daughter realizes something's going on, and she calls it out. Look at what the mom does.
No, because I'm getting the bills right now.
Bitch, if you don't tuck that hand out of my face, that's the... Stop. You're doing too much. I got this. You stay over there. It's another isolating move. This is you're too much right now. This is you're alone in this. The too much wound is it's a big one. Do you ever feel like that? I feel like I've talked about this before, okay? You are not too much. You're not. If you were hurt about something, you were fucking hurt, bro. And it doesn't matter how you expressed it. And guess what? If you didn't express it well, maybe you didn't have a parent or somebody that could help you figure out those emotions. If you're hurt, you're fucking hurt, all right? You are not too much. And I think that by accepting you're not too much, you'll be able to feel your emotions, express your emotions, and then control your emotions. But if somebody is constantly suppressing your emotions, whether it's an external force or whether it's you, then you're not gonna feel those things, and then they stay bottled up within you. And then when something happens and you get shaken up to the point that they're spilling out, you feel like a mess. You feel out of control. Accept your emotions. They are real and they are not too much. Yeah, I am just like a little YouTube armchair person, but I try to encourage you guys to take things with a grain of salt, and I hope that I don't come off as though I'm trying to say everything matter-of-factly. So I always try to leave it open-ended, or I try to express, this is my experience, maybe you relate. What somebody said, Therapy Bose is back from the war. Yeah, she's back. She might get deployed again soon.
I mean, that really wouldn't matter if the billing address, ma'am. As long as you have that account number and it's applied to an account number, that's the most important thing.
Okay, so I don't need an address. I just need to give them that account number and that dollar amount and call that 800 number.
Yes, ma'am. Uh-huh.
Okay, and then once that's paid, there's no issues?
No, ma'am. Also, no, ma'am. There shouldn't be an issue.
Someone said break her fingers. Bro, I instantly just pictured just reaching my hand out and snap. But don't do that. We're reeling it in here. We're reeling it in. We're validating ourselves so that we don't seek validation from others desperately and cause whirlwind emotions.
I have a question for you. Has my credit been affected by this at all? Like,
She
if
doesn't
she hasn't
know.
paid this bill in a while, how would that affect me since it's been in my name?
Looks like it hasn't been much in outside collection agency.
Okay, good. I don't know, this is new to me, so.
And is this for a TV or a phone? What is this bill? Cable?
No.
This is a home phone. It worked for ever since 2011.
So it's from 2011 for a home phone. Well, I never had a home phone. I've never had a home phone. That's
Bullshit.
why-
The home phone could have had internet on it now. Keep in mind,
Yeah. Oh, she was so ready to jump on that. Oh, well, I never had a home phone. Maybe this is a mistake. That was annoying. That was so fucking annoying, dude.
Okay, so it could be internet or a home phone, because I don't have a home phone, so it could be a... Okay, all right, no problem. Thank you for your help. Here's my daughter if she needs anything else.
All right. No, thank you. If she doesn't pay this, it's gonna go to collections, and then that would affect my credit. Okay, how does that affect my credit? I'm only 20, so I don't really know a whole lot about this kind of stuff.
Oh my god, that's so sad. Dude, that sucks because you really want your parents to teach you financial literacy. You would like them to teach you what credit is, not teach you the hard way by stealing your identity. That's a really unfortunate form of betrayal that can get normalized by behaviors like this. And so then you seek people that take advantage of you in ways similar to ways that your parent did.
Sorry that this has been a really difficult phone conversation. Or I'm sorry, difficult customers. I hope you have a happy holiday. And thank you for your... I'm just trying to deal with a lot. She's been crazy, but thank you.
I understand. You accept everything.
All right, goodbye.
I'm gonna show you what you do to me. I'm gonna show you on my computer because it's...
Mom, come in here and let me read something to you. Oh God, what is she about to read?
Kingston, I will take you for a walk in a minute.
I like how she has been so spun up. She's so pissed off. She's getting the short end of the stick every turn of the road. And her dog wants to go out and she still just goes, Kingston, I will get to you in a minute. It was so frustrated, but still so sweet at the same time.
Come in here. I know, but I am frustrated with you because you don't listen to me. I'm trying to teach you something.
Take a walk.
Another odd form of teaming up in isolation. This time with the dog. Oh, your dog wants to take a walk. Oh, me and your dog want this. You want this. You're over here. It's crazy how you can even do that with a pet.
Got that little floor heater back?
No, I need that. She's doing so good. She probably feels so alone in this. I could just be projecting, but I would. She's doing so good. She's a lone warrior.
Wait, so there's this thing that you do to me, and I actually recently started doing it to Jason, and I got really mad at myself because I don't want to treat him the way that you treat me because it hurts me. And I realized that you don't even know that you're doing it to me because it's a natural defense mechanism that the brain does. And it's basically like, I've done it for a long time, and it's called emotional distancing. And it's where your brain, like a switch goes off in your brain.
Before she explains, have you ever gotten caught in the trap of looking at like a list of narcissistic traits, and you're either thinking somebody that you care about could be narcissistic, or you're even thinking, could it be you that's narcissistic? And you're looking at these traits and you're like, what the they do this, or I do this, or da-da-da-da, and it feels really confusing. One thing that can happen is that if a person gets emotionally abused, or they deal with a real true narcissist, okay? A real true narcissistic person. What happens is that narcissistic person is constantly using their arsenal of tools on the unwilling victim, okay? We'll call them the normal person. And the narcissist is always using these tools, and the normal person starts to say, oh my God, that hurt, that hurt, that hurt. Well, I don't know why what you're doing is hurting me so bad, but I'm gonna copy that because it's clearly protecting you, and maybe I can use that to protect myself from other people. Basically, a learned behavior. So sometimes people that were raised by emotionally manipulative people, they end up picking up emotionally manipulative traits and unfortunately carrying it into other relationships. It is crazy and really beautiful that she articulates really well that she's doing this to her partner and she doesn't like it. Now, a reminder, people that are true narcissists, they are empty at their very core. There is nothing there. They need control and other people to make them feel whole. But sometimes a vulnerable person who does have something inside of them can pick up narcissistic traits because they're trying to protect themselves. I think it's really great she recognized this in herself and didn't want to treat her partner that way.
For a long time, and it's called emotional distancing.
The mom and
it's
the
where
dog.
your brain, like a switch goes off in your brain, and you just don't care. Things just don't matter. Like your reality changes, and it happens to me from time to time, and I really don't like that you do it to me, and I'm gonna read this to you because this is the
the science behind it. And it's definitely a huge issue. Can you just focus?
I'm gonna try to give him attention.
But I don't need you to do that. I need you to focus on this right now.
Haley,
No.
I am listening.
Mom, I don't want you to do this right now. I'm trying to talk to you and you're focusing on the dog.
It's crazy that she's trying to talk to her about emotional distancing, and that's exactly what her mom is doing right now, using distractions to drive a wedge between her and the conversation. She is actively emotionally distancing herself right in front of her while she's trying to talk about it.
Everything you're saying, Haley.
Okay, well, how about you read this article
I don't
then?
have my glasses on. I can't see anything.
Of course.
I can't.
Whatever. Emotional distancing is an all too common behavioral pattern which propels many people into counseling. If you or your partner withdraw from each other emotionally, it helps to understand that this reaction isn't always intentional. This is an issue that Jason and I are having because I will be with him and then all of a sudden I won't care about anything. Like he'll be affectionate to me and I'll look at him like with no emotion in my eyes, like whatever. Like, what are you looking at me like that for? Like he'll look at me like, oh, you look really nice right now, and I'll just look at him like nothing. And it's because my brain, a switch goes off, and you do it to me. When I try to talk to you about things that matter to me, you go a different direction and you change the subject and you just ignore it. Like,
Is this that card you gave me?
no, this is a completely different thing. I googled what I've been doing. And I found out that it has a name, and it's a problem that because how James treated us growing up, I went through shit, you went through your own shit, and now we have this issue because you do it to me and I'm doing it to him, and I want to stop this because I don't like it.
Can I take a picture of that?
Website.
No, I'm visual.
She's not gonna do anything with it.
When we get overwhelmed from the demands of a relationship or other stresses, we sometimes isolate emotionally. We might be physically present, but we remain emotionally absent. When other people may not notice, but those close to us can often sense when we're somewhere else. In other words, the lights are on, but no one's home. But I don't like that description about it because it makes you seem like you're crazy and we're not. It just says, it's just because when, for instance, Jason treats me really nicely, and you dated James for a long time, and I watched him treat you like shit. And then I dated
She's
Jay.
trying to break the generational trauma cycle.
And he treated me like shit. He was abusive. And so, I haven't had a ton of great relationships in my life, so I'm used to being treated like shit. And now that I'm dating Jason, he's treating me so nicely.
She does not accept it.
The fuck out because I don't know how to deal with that because I'm used to dealing with other things. So my brain switches that switch off, so I emotionally don't care about anything anymore. And then he thinks that I don't like him because I'm not all the way there and I'm not showing my emotions. And it normally happens in the middle of sex. I'll just stop being myself and I just won't want anything to do with anything anymore, and we'll stop having sex and I won't want to put my clothes on, and I feel like not me, myself. I feel like something is invading my brain and making me boring and monotone, how people just talk like this and they don't have any emotion. That's what I become. I become monotone.
You need to change that.
Well,
maybe you need to change that. Oh, shut the fuck up. How many of you guys can't accept compliments? Isn't that weird? That's kind of what she's talking about. Not being able to accept love. If you have trouble accepting love or compliments, I am somebody that definitely grew up like this. I even felt uncomfortable when somebody would